Hey, y'all. It is Thursday. We got a brand new episode of The Late Night Vision Show. This is episode 307. We have a review, surprisingly, another review. And this is, tell you, this is one of the best scopes right now that nobody is talking about. It's being overshadowed right now by another popular scope. But the optic that we're going to review, that I'll let Jason introduce, was announced at SHOT Show 2024. We talked about it on an interview show with Casey Cochran back when we had Casey with InfiRay USA on the show. And like I said, it is an optic that nobody's talking about, and it is a sleeper, y'all. So to help me introduce it, the owner of Outdoor Legacy, the co-host of the Late Night Vision Show, Mr. Jason Robertson. Good evening, man. Good to see you again. Good to have you back.
Absolutely. I'm over here now. I thought, man, it'd be a good time to make sure I got everything plugged in.
Oh, yeah,
working.
right.
And I think hey, we'll know in 30 minutes if I have any.
Yeah, you usually leave that to the end of the show, like, oh
Yeah,
man,
exactly.
I didn't plug in my mic.
Exactly, man. I'm making all kinds of adjustments over here. I got a new camera stand and all kinds of stuff. All right, folks. Hans is not joking. I want to tell you about this scope, but before we do, real quick. So, in case you don't know, you may be brand new here, may have never clicked on and seen any of these videos. This is a Late Night Vision Show. My name is Jason Robertson, owner of Outdoor Legacy. You've got Hans here, and what we do is we come here every week and we talk about, mostly what we do is reviews, but we also talk about topics and different things here in the night hunting world and industry. But we also, we do this for a living. So I own Outdoor Legacy. Hans is my right-hand man there, and we help people all day long, 5 days a week, figure out exactly what thermal or night vision optic is right for them. We know this is very confusing. There's a lot to get into. There's so many different scopes. Every week we're coming here this time of year with new scopes that were announced at SHOT Show and are just hitting the market, and we're reviewing them. We're going out and hunting with them and showing you video and telling you how they're going to work. But sometimes you still watch the review and you go, okay, well, I like this one or I don't like this one. That might have helped, but I still don't know if it's right for me. Guys, we want to help you, and we would love to have your business. So all you got to do, pick up the phone, give us a call, 877-350-1818, and you're going to talk to one of the very, very awesome and sweet ladies we've got in the office. Michaela, Angela, Jessica, these three ladies are awesome. They're going to take your call. They're going to talk to you for a minute, get some info from you. And myself or Ashley or Hans, one of us, whatever breaks free first, is going to give you a call back. Every one of us hunts with, in the field, every single optic that we sell. So we can tell you how they compare to everything else out there that we sell. And so it really helps you go, what about this scope? And go, oh, hang on, you're doing this, you're doing that. No, that's not right for you, or maybe this is perfect for you. And again, we'll help you stay within your budget and find something that is just right for you. And again, we've got these optics in stock in our warehouse, and we would love to have your business. So if you want to learn more, if you want to support us and do business with us, give us that call at 877-350-1818. If you just want to see these optics, look a little bit more, you can go to our website, outdoorlegacygear.com. outdoorlegacygear.com. All these optics will be listed there. You can take a look at them, maybe help narrow down a little bit there as well. But if you just know what you want, you can check out right there online. But we always suggest, if you've got a little bit of doubt, not sure, call us. Worst case, you go, this is the one I want. Here's what I'm doing. We ask you a few questions and we can go, yep, you made the right choice. And that's easy. Other times you go, I don't even know where to start. And we're glad to help you with that as well. All right, so there is the promo, the commercial, but I want to just really dive into this and talk about what Hans mentioned here when he said that this is kind of a sleeper, and it is a scope that's not getting the attention that it deserves, and that's really the theme of this review. We're doing this review right now in, what is it, March? I had to think about that. It's hard to believe we're already in March of 2024. This may change. I think it's going to. I think that over time, when more people see this scope, more of them get out there and people realize what it is, I think there's a lot of people who are going to realize this is the scope they should have bought, probably rather maybe even than the big brother to this scope that's more expensive. And I'm going to tell you why here in a minute. So this is the RH50 MK1 V2. All right, this is from InfiRay Outdoor. Scope is $47.99. I'm not going to get into all the specs. I'm going to let Hans do that in a minute. But these names in themselves are confusing. So what this is if you're familiar, which you may not be, InfiRay Outdoor, some of their most popular scopes, and the ones they first came out with when they hit the U.S. market were the Ricoh MK1, and now we're going to call them V1s, but it's the MK1, and they had the RH50, the RH35, and the RL42. Those scopes are all gone, discontinued, off the market. So what this is this is the V2, the version 2 of that. It looks exactly the same body, same housing. So if you're familiar with that, that's what this is. But again, it is a version 2. Now the real confusion comes in is because another scope that was announced at SHOT Show the exact same day as this scope is going to be an InfiRay Outdoor Ricoh MK2 RH50. So you're like, hold on a minute. MK1 V2, MK2. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I probably would have named them something different. I probably would have done something a little bit different here because it even when I'm reading about them, sometimes I go, wait a minute, MK2 or version 2? So the MK2 looks very, very similar to this. It's a little bit different. It's got a different battery. The housing is similar, but it's got a few key differences, not much. We're calling that scope, it's being called the RH50R. It has a laser rangefinder built into it on the side. Okay, it's a very small laser rangefinder, which is really cool. Now, that scope is $54.99. So you got basically this scope at $4,800, that scope at $5,500. And you say, well, what's the real difference? Well, the laser rangefinder is one thing, and the RH50R also has a larger display screen in it. This is not a small display at all. It's a nice large size display. The RH50R has a bigger display. Image quality between these two, in my opinion, is nearly identical. I'm willing to say it's the same. I think if you put them side by side and you have a trained eye and you know what you're looking for and you spend some time there, you can maybe make the argument that the RH50R with the larger display maybe has a little better image. But guys, it's hard for me to see that. It may be there, but it's very, very, very close. I don't think the average person could see it, even if they're side by side. So I think is a safe thing to say is they basically have the same image quality. So now I've talked a lot. Let me get a drink. All right, here's where I'm going to put a big bow on this discussion between these two. The reason this is a sleeper, the reason that we think that this scope is going to be very popular when people figure out what it is that this scope, again, as we said, we're going to round up, $4,800, $5,500 for the RH50R. That's 5, 6, 7. Make sure I'm doing the math right. That's $700 difference between the two, and essentially all you're getting is a laser rangefinder. Now, it's important if you need a laser rangefinder, but if you don't, you're spending $700 that you don't have to spend. I mean, that is a significant amount of money over $4,800. I'd have to do the math, but it's probably over 15%. That's a big upgrade price, and a lot of guys are flocking to that RH50R because that's what everybody else is doing, and it's kind of the cool kid thing to do right now. And so, you see it on the internet, everybody's doing it. You can't get them. They're really hard to get. I got to have one too. And they get caught up in that, and they don't realize that the little brother is right here for $700 less. That's essentially the same scope with no laser rangefinder. And again, if you need the laser rangefinder, then absolutely you need to go to that scope. But if you don't, this scope is a bargain for what you're getting. And I believe, and I'm going to end with this, long term, we're not seeing this today. Okay, because again, people don't know about this scope. They don't understand what it is. I think long term, we're going to see the sales of this unit way beat the RH50R because not everybody needs a laser rangefinder, and not everybody's just looking to go throw $700 away just to get something because everybody else is. So that's my hot take on this scope and why I think it's a sleeper right now. So Hans, take it away.
Yeah. I remember, just talking to you and you're like, man, I've got these things side by side, the RH50R and the RH50 V2. And you're like, man, if there's a difference, it is not a huge difference. It is hard. The untrained eye can't hardly see anything. And you being somebody that's seen all of this stuff. And
I've run them a lot side by side. I mean, like side by side, going back and forth, one on left eye, one on right. I mean, they're extreme.
I remember, I don't remember if you said this specifically, but when they announced all the new models, when InfiRay USA announced all the new InfiRay outdoor models, I remember thinking that that we needed to go heavy on the RH50 V2. And when I say heavy, as a dealer, that means we need to go big. We need to order a lot of these because these are going to move. And at that price and what you're getting, and we still think that this is as popular as the RH50R is right now. We do think long term that the RH50 V2, because of the price point, the quality, and we're getting into the likes. We're jumping way ahead, but I'm going to run down the specs as usual, y'all. We're going to show a bunch of video. Jason has the scope this time. I got it first, and now he got to play with it.
Yeah, and to be clear, Hans got this thing like I just about dropped it. I just fumbled this thing. I got it off the rifle. Hans got this thing like in, I don't know, November, maybe
well
December.
Before SHOT Show,
yeah, well before, way before. He had it for months, and he wouldn't give it up and send it down here to Ashley and I. But we finally got our hands on it and pried it away from him. So
finally got it. Having too much fun with it now. So going to be showing some video. Jason's going to be doing the walk around of it. We're going to be talking about our likes and dislikes. I'm going to tell you, y'all, we struggled to find a lot of dislikes. It was probably one of the toughest things that you and I had to do was to try to figure out what we didn't like about this scope. But we got a couple for you, and we're going to talk about who it's good for and our overall thoughts as always. But jumping right into the specs, the price, and I think Jason, you might have already mentioned it a couple times, but I'm going to say it again. It's worth saying again. The price is $4,799, right at $4,800. It is a 640 by 512 thermal resolutions. It's 12 micron, 60 hertz refresh rate. It does have a -20 NETD MK thermal sensor rating. Starts out at 3 power, goes up to 12 power magnification. That is 4 times digital zoom. It has a 46 feet at 100 yard field of view. Jason, I think you talked about the display on it. It is an AMOLED display, 1024 by 768 resolution. I think the RH50R, what is that, 2560 by 2560, just like the Bolt
TH50C.
Yeah. So
that's correct.
Yeah, this is a 1024 by 768 resolution. It's got a detection range of 2,400 yards. The ID range, y'all, I mean, it's going to be very similar to what the Bolt is. We typically say, it's going to be about 500 plus yards. And when we say 500 plus, if it's a large animal like a hog or a deer, it could be 700 or 800 yards. If it's a small animal like a coyote, it could be 500 to 600 yards, maybe a little bit further. What I would say is these numbers are pretty conservative as always. It could be a little bit further. If the weather's bad, if there's a lot of humidity in the air, a lot of moisture in the air, if it's been drizzling or raining, these numbers may come down. Well, they will come down a little bit because moisture affects picture image. So also it does have 7 different color palettes, 7 reticles. 2 of them are dynamic, 5 of them are static. And it does have 4 different reticle options. It does have picture-in-picture display, video and audio recording, and it does have 32 gigabytes of internal storage. It is LRF capable with the I got those letters mixed around. Let me try that again. ILR 1000 rangefinder. So when I say it's capable, that means that is an accessory that you can add after the fact. It's not going to come with the scope. It is a plug and play accessory that you can purchase later on down the road. You don't have to purchase it at the time of the sale of the scope. It does come with 2 battery packs, and each one of those battery packs, you're going to get about 6 or 7 hours of runtime. Depending on how cold it is, it's going to be on the lower end of the scale. It does come with a 2-throw lever QD mount. It weighs exactly 2 pounds. It's IP67 weather rating, and it's -4 degrees Fahrenheit cold weather rating. It is recoil rated for a 300 Win Mag, a 7 mag, and it does come with a 5-year warranty with a 5 business day repair or replace guarantee. And what that means, y'all, the 5 business day repair or replace guarantee, that doesn't mean the time starts when you ship it. It means when you have a problem with that scope, whenever it lands in their facility, the next day is when the time starts. That's when the clock starts ticking. They have 5 business days to either repair it or to ship out a brand new unit, and they are running very, very good on that. That warranty that came out, you and I remember, Jason, when InfiRay USA first came onto the market, and they talked about this 5 business day turnaround time. You and I were nervous about even talking about it. Do you remember that? We were like,
because I was like, "There's nobody can do that."
We're in the beginning. You can go back and watch. We didn't mention it that often on InfiRay because we were like, "Man, that's a very."
We thought it was too big.
We thought it was like, but we're confident to talk about it now because they are getting those scopes in and out very quickly, and doing it in the time frame that they promised.
I do want to make one small correction. They don't guarantee that you're going to get a brand new scope. They just guarantee you're going to get either a refurbished scope or a brand new scope. Generally speaking, everybody's getting new scopes, but I mean, they do leave themselves the option of maybe they've got a scope that's an open box, maybe they've got something that's refurbished. You're not going to get somebody's banged up, blood soaked, nothing like that. To be honest, everybody I know is getting new scopes, but I just want to be clear, they don't promise a new scope. Hans, is that all
that's all the specs.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and jump into this. So, because I know I went kind of long in the beginning. Here is the scope itself. I'm going to show you right here. This is the battery that's fully removable. There are 2 of these that come with it. If you ever need extras, they are available. They're $179 a piece. But gosh, with 2 of these things coming with it, unless you're just hunting really, really, really cold weather, I mean, that's like Hans said, 6 to 7 hour runtime. Do that times 2. I mean, even if you were down to 5 hours, I'm at 10 hours. I mean, that's a long time. So I don't know many people that are needing more than 2 of these, but if you do, they are available. Scope also comes with a cradle charger. You can plug the scope in. I'm going to find that. I'll just show you while we're talking about it right here. This is a USB-C port. Gosh, you can't really see it on my camera well, but you plug it in right there. You can charge the battery while it's in the scope. You also get a cradle charger where you can drop one of the batteries in, plug that into USB into the wall, and charge it that way as well. You can run this scope off of an external battery pack. So if you got in a bind out there, forgot to charge your batteries, you got a USB battery you can run your cell phone or something off of, you can always plug it in right there. That's also the port that you can use to plug this into your computer and pull off your video files that way as well. There is a smartphone app, as Hans mentioned. I think it's got Wi-Fi compatible, so you can use a smartphone app, pull videos and stuff off that way. I don't do that. I just plug it straight in my computer because it's so quick and so easy, but you got a couple options there. So moving along, you can see, I'm trying to just get the light right there. This is a Picatinny rail right on the side. And what that is made for is that optional laser rangefinder. They call it the ILR 1000, as Hans mentioned. It is right now, I think the price on that's about $7.99. I think that's right, Hans.
Yep.
And it will plug in USB right here. It does not require any other battery source. It pulls its battery from the scope. It integrates into the scope. So this isn't a laser rangefinder where you got to look at another screen or display. It fully integrates into the software of this scope. So it's, again, this is optional. That to me, that's what makes this scope a little better value. If you buy this thing today and you're like, I don't need a laser rangefinder, but maybe one day, I might. Well, if in 2 years down the road you need a laser rangefinder, you buy one for this. you know, and there you go. So if you don't ever need one, you don't ever have to buy it. But I do like that that is an option on down the road. So moving forward on the scope, this is the lens cap, just a hard, rigid lens cap, very nice. On this side, there is the battery. I've already showed you that. On the top, this is going to be your focus knob for the front lens. That's your focus adjustment. And then here's your buttons. I don't know if you can see, I'm going to try to show, but this button right here, which is your menu button, it is raised. You can kind of see it. It's a little bit higher than the rest. So when you're feeling, that's kind of like your home button. You can feel that with your fingers. Oh, that's the higher one. That's the one I need to be on. So then, you know, you've got your home, or your menu, I should say, and your up and your down, and then your power button is in the very front. So it gives you a place to recenter. Even with gloves, you can normally kind of feel where you're at. Oh, there's the last button. Move one forward. There it is. I like that a lot. Moving to the back of the scope here, this is the, if I can find it. Well, that's tight. There it is. Sorry, I was too far forward. That is the diopter adjustment. That is the eyepiece focus, where you can focus this screen to your eye. Now, once you do this, you kind of set it, forget it, unless you put on glasses or somebody else picks the scope up. You're not going to be playing with that. You will do all your lens focusing up here. And here is rubber eye cup. You can remove this if you don't want it. Last thing I'll show you, and we're going to talk about here in just a little bit, this is the new mount. This is an InfiRay Outdoor. You can kind of see that there. It's an InfiRay Outdoor branded mount. This comes on it. No longer do you get the long mount that was about that long, was not quick detach. That does not come with this scope anymore. It is a 2 QD throw lever. One faces this way, one faces that way. As for the question always comes up, can I take it off and put it back on the scope and will it hold zero? Yes, we have used them. We have tested them. We've seen no issues with them holding zero. That is nice. I'm going to talk a little bit about the mount more in some of our other stuff, but I just wanted to mention that does come with it. So Hans, there's a walk around.
All right, good job. I just had a kid bust in. I had to give her this stinky evil eye. Anyway, so let's talk about, Jason, as we always like to do, the likes and the dislikes. We'll start with the dislikes, and I'll run it off first. How about that?
You do it because there's almost none. So thank you for taking this one for the team.
What I would say, I'll go over the first one. So what I would say, this scope is a little bit heavy, and let me tell you, it's right at 2 pounds. Here's where this style of scope used to be in the beginning. When I say in the beginning, back several years ago, this style of scope, this form factor, was pretty much all there was. There was not many other options than this style. Now, what you find now, this form factor of scope, the style of scope, is kind of somewhere in the middle of what's going on right now. You have scopes out there that are somewhat smaller, more lightweight, more adaptable to whatever you're trying to do with it, whether that's scanning with it, whether that's, taking it camping, putting it in your pocket, for people that are that are either preppers or wanting it for emergency situations, something that they can scan with, and also put on a rifle and shoot with. This is a little bit bigger than those models. Yes, you can take it off and scan with it. It's a little bit bigger than what you probably want to do with that. Not as ideal. That's why I think InfiRay has the Ricoh G models, that are smaller, the GH50 and the GH50R and all that. But so this is a little bit bigger, a little bit longer, a little bit heavier weight. If you were shooting a bolt action rifle or a chassis rifle, you would probably, if you were calling me, asking me, I'd probably steer you to one of the InfiRay Outdoor bolt models instead of this compact or this form factor. So a little bit on the heavier weight side, kind of in between the form factors of what a lot of people are going to, whether it's, the traditional tube style for bolt action rifle shooters, or if it's really the subcompact style scope for more adaptive options as far as what you're trying to do with it. So that's one negative that we had to really stir off the pot at the very bottom of the pot. We just had to
tough.
scrape it off. That was about
Yeah,
it.
I say we're talking about it being heavy, and
I know.
it's probably one of the lightest scopes reviewed in about 3 or 4 weeks.
I was about to
But
say it's
I mean,
15. It's 15, almost 15 ounces lighter than the scope that we reviewed previous to this. So
we
I'll
didn't call
say,
it heavy. I know. We're stretching here. We're looking.
yeah.
So the only other thing that I would mention, and again, guys, we're trying to nitpick here. This mount is fine. It works. I already told you, it does return to zero. I like it because it comes with it. It's free. It's quick detach. It does its job. I'm just not going to lie. I'm being real nitpicky, but I'm not a big fan of this. One lever goes this way. One lever goes this way. It's just, I don't know. It works. Okay. And let's be
It definitely
clear.
works. Yeah, it definitely works.
definitely
Taking it on
works.
and off, hunted with it, didn't reside it back in, went and hunted with it. So
No.
it does work. It just looks like we're used to, Jason and I are used to the levers facing the same direction. So it kind of messes with our brain.
That's a bother to me. It's yeah. And it is locking. These levers lock.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
this
it
is a pro and a con. Here's my con with it. I think it looks kind of goofy. Now I want to be the first to say, don't buy a thermal scope based on how it looks. I've told a lot of guys, like, I've never had a hog or a coyote, complain about what the scope looks like out there in the dark. All right. So I don't think that we're trying to win beauty contest here. It's just, I don't know. It feels kind of long. I'm just not a big fan of it. I am a big fan of the American Defense mount, the RQD mount that is made by American Defense on behalf of InfiRay USA for this scope. And so I really like that mount. It's smaller, it's lighter weight, it's got one QD throw lever. I like it better. It's $200. It's one of those things. If this doesn't bother you, then I wouldn't do anything. It's perfectly fine. If you're kind of tactical and you want it to look cool and you want it to be the smaller mount and whatever, I would go to the American Defense, but I don't think it's any requirement. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think you're going to gain anything other than a little bit of a smaller mount, probably save an ounce of weight and be $200 lighter. But other than that, so I think it's a pro and a con. So I'm going to change gears. I'm going to say, before, in all of the other MK1s, the RH50, the original, the RH35, and the RL42, they came with this long mount, about 8-9 inches long, was non-quick detach, and it was okay. You had to buy the American Defense RQD mount if you wanted a quick detach mount, if you wanted a return to zero mount, if you really wanted to mount it on an AR easily, you needed to buy another mount. So right here out of the box, you're saving $200. Most people are not opting to buy the American Defense. A lot of people are, but I'd say most people aren't. Probably only 45% are doing that. So you're saving $200 out of the box. Plus the fact, I want to go ahead and hit on this. When the original RH50, we're now going to call the V1, when it first came out, it was $6,000 and it sold like wildfire. Okay. This was only 2 or 3 years ago. And it just, people went nuts over this scope. Understandably. It was a great optic for what it was. It was very fairly priced at that time. But oh, how things change. Now that scope is gone. This scope is out with a significantly better image quality and with a quick detach mount. And it is $47.99, so it's $1,200 cheaper with a QD mount, much better image quality. Wow, quickly things change. It really makes this scope a great value for the dollar.
Absolutely. So let us continue to run down the likes. So what I would say, you talked about the value, Jason. You talked about the V1 price and now the V2 price when they come out. It's hard to get past, and we say this every time on every review. And if this is your first time watching us, you have to forgive us because we do so many of these reviews, and we try to keep somewhat of the same structure. So to us, we feel like we're saying the same thing over and over again, and you might be hearing it for the first time, but it's hard to get past when you're doing a review. What people care about the most is the picture image. How does it look compared to other scopes in the same price range? How does it look to the previous model of scopes? And I think that you hit on that very well in the beginning of the show. This is a scope that has very, very almost identical picture image to a scope that a lot of people are saying is the best scope under $6,000, and that's the Bolt TH50C and now the RH50R in that same somewhat price range, $5,500 price range. You're getting that, and it all goes into the value for $47.99. There are a lot of people out there, and I'm glad you touched on the laser rangefinder, and that's what the big difference is between this and the RH50R. But I would say, and I might be going off on a limb and saying this, but I think that the majority of the people, the night hunting market, the people that are running around at night, hunting all the time, the majority of people probably don't need a laser rangefinder. Now, whether you want one, that's a different question. Whether you'd like to have one or you think it's a cool accessory or something you need to have, that's completely different. But as far as people that really, really need one, there's probably a very small number of people that actually need one. People that really need a laser rangefinder, and we talk about it all the time, are people that are hunting on different properties all the time, properties that they don't get a chance to look at during the day that often. They're running around, they're hunting different places, and it's hard to tell, judge distance at night, especially on a new property in the dark. Also, if you are hunting in areas that are completely wide open, you can see 1,000 yards in all directions without any reference points, then yeah, you're probably going to need a laser rangefinder. Now, again, most people don't fall in those categories. So to have an option of similar picture quality of one of the most popular scopes announced, and one of the most popular scopes that's been around for a while, the Bolt TH50 and the RH50R, to get that for $4,800 without a laser rangefinder, with that unbelievable, fantastic picture image, there's a reason why this is such a fantastic scope that nobody's heard about. And it's because all of the attention, everybody's running over to the scope that they can't get right now. And you talked about that as well. People want it because they can't get it. But when those things are stacked up on the shelf, I think people are going to start looking at this in a more practical way and say, okay, I can get the RH50R right now. I can get the RH50 V2. Let's talk about what I need, what I don't need. Let's talk about price versus value. And I think at the end of the day, again, I do predict that more of these RH50 V2s will sell than anything else in that 640 range. I mean, just because of what you're getting. Anyway, I rambled way long. Yep. So yes, picture image. That was
totally agree with everybody.
That was like 3 minutes of saying this has great picture image. So I'll let you run out. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I think you're right on every single bit of that. And guys, I want to say this and then I'll kind of be done, and I need to be careful what I say here, but we're in the business of selling scopes. Okay. But we see this, and we've seen this for years and years and years. And this is not just in the scope world. This is this is consumers in general. And it's a human nature, okay? Even though I like to think that I don't fall into this, we all like to think we're above this, but we want what we can't get. And scarcity breeds demand. These are all marketing 101 things. And we see this all the time. Every year there's a scope or two, we see this happens. And the RH50R is one of these where everybody wants it because they can't get it. And we get these guys on the phone, there's nothing wrong, they're buying a great scope. There's nothing, and the worst thing they've done is bought a scope with a laser rangefinder they may or may not need or want or use. Whatever. Not the end of the world. They're not looking to pay $10,000 too much. It's $700. But people want it because they can't get it. They don't even want to talk about this scope. And I mean, I had a guy on the phone the other day and he starts talking about the RH50R. How soon can I get one? Like, man, it may be, I don't know, a month or two. I don't know. We're going on about it. And he's like, I just got to wait. I just got to have that. I'm like, do you need a laser rangefinder? And he goes, no, I'm not shooting over 200 yards. I was like, okay, well, listen, if you don't need that, why don't you consider this? Save yourself $700. I went to gave a little spiel on this, and he goes, nope, on the RH50R. I'm like, okay, hey, no problem. I'm in the business to sell you what you want, but I don't say I didn't tell you, So it's why we're bringing this up is trust me, we're making less money on these, and it's not like we're sitting on some huge pile of them that we got stuck. Nothing like that. We're just being honest with you that, hey, buy what you want, but we're here to tell you or to help you figure out maybe what you need. I do think another value on this scope, it's a very big deal. It comes with 2 batteries. All right. So you got to appreciate that. It's not right off the bat. Well, I like the scope. I'm going to get the scope, but I got to buy another battery. No, you're getting another battery. And this is the same battery as any of the previous MK1s. Again, that RL42, RH35, and RH50. The same battery that they used works right here in this. Last thing I'll say real quick, because we are fixing to run long on this show, is that the audio is improved on this greatly over the previous MK1s. And also something that was a bit of a complaint for a lot of people on the original, the RH50 and the RH35, when the original V1s, was the black hot was not good. And they actually improved it with an update at one point, but it was still okay. I don't use black hot. I'm a white hot guy, but Hans is our resident black hot man. He has got to use black hot. So he's sensitive to that. I don't mean it in that way, but when he's using it all the time, he knows when it's good and when it's bad. I'm the white hot guy. I can tell you when white hot is good or bad. These are personal preferences, but this scope has got a very good black hot image. So that has been improved as well. So I do think there are real improvements. Somebody asked me, hey, I own an RH50. Now this is called the version 1. Should I upgrade to this? I mean, that's always a hard one to say, is like, I'm going out and say, yes, you should go buy a new one. But I would say, if you're perfectly happy with your scope, no, man, you're good to go. But if you're kind of getting to that point, like, I'm kind of getting itchy, I'd kind of like something new and improved, yes, I think this scope has a big enough image quality difference that if you're already thinking about it, then yes, I think it is worth that upgrade. It's not just run out and go sell yours because it's junk and it's no good anymore, nothing like that. But I do think you're getting better black hot, you're getting a much better overall image, you're getting the better audio recording, you're getting a QD mount on it. I do think, and it's a very good value. So I would say that if you're kind of on the edge, then yeah.
Yeah. So let's knock that out, because I think that's real easy, quick, and simple. Who is this optic good for? I'm going to say if you are primarily an AR style rifle shooter, that this is a good optic to consider. If your average shot, whatever you're shooting, hunting, it don't matter. Hogs, coyotes, predators, whatever. If your average shot is going to be over 100 yards, I think this is something you definitely take a look at. If your budget is $5,000 and under, AR style shooter, average shot over 100 yards, you definitely need to consider the RH50 V2. I think that'll run that down quick.
Yeah, I
think it's pretty easy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if you've gotten to here and you go, oh my gosh, guys, you just dumped this on me and we're 40 minutes in and now you're telling me I'm a bolt gun shooter and this isn't for me, I can solve your problem really quickly. Take all the great things we've said about this scope and apply them to the InfiRay Outdoor Bolt TH50C version 2, the V2, $54.99. That is your scope. Okay, that is your scope. It is essentially this same optic in a 30 millimeter tube. Fantastic optic. That's where you need to go if you're hunting with a bolt gun. And I know there's going to be somebody that's in the comments and they're typing, and I've got this and I've got it on my bolt gun and it works great. It's not going to work for the majority of people. We've been down the road. They're not going to get the eye relief they need on a fixed stock. You might be able to, but a lot of people are not. Yeah, and so that's why we're telling you that. We're not trying to be like jerks about it. It's just we want it to work for you.
Yeah, and there's some guys out there that are hunting with chassis rifles that have
that's different.
Collapsible stocks, completely different. Yeah, I mean that has the style and feel of an AR style rifle. But yeah, there's so many different models of AR or bolt action rifles, and people are like, well, how's it going to fit on mine? Is it going to be usable? And the only way to answer that is, you won't know until you get it and you try it. Unfortunately, that's a big gamble. Yeah, you don't want to do that. If you want, buy the style, the form factor that's going to be right, that you're going to be confident that's going to be right for the rifle that you have.
Okay, so let's put a wrap on this baby. Here's what I think we got. I think we've got a scope that has the same image quality as its big brother, the RH50R, the MK2. It's got the same image quality as the TH50C V2. That's the bolt. I mean, you've run this beside it. You're still running a bolt. You've got this. You've ran them side by side. It's got that same image quality. you're getting this scope again for about $4,800, significantly less, and just a heck of a good value for the dollar. Great image. I'm going to tell you something else. And this is, I can't explain it. You're just going to have to see it for yourself. But we talk about the display screen size. And I know that's one of the things that you know, the Bolt and the RH50, RH50R, the MK2, have this larger display screen. Guys, before we started this, even while we were doing it, Hans was doing some specs, and I was looking through this thing. Don't know, hopefully it's not on the video, but I was sitting here just looking in it. The screen is huge.
Yeah.
Okay. This is not one of those screens where it looks like you're looking down a tunnel and the screen is way down. That's not. I mean, like, this screen is close to your eye. It's big. I bet you $100 I could show this to 100 people and say, yep, this has got that new big screen in it. And 99 of them would go, oh yeah, it's so big, it's huge, I can tell. And it's not. It's the same screen as before because it's plenty big. It looks really good. So I'm going to put a bow on this, and Hans, I'll let you have the last word. Great value for the dollar. It's still a sleeper. I think that it's got some of the best image quality that you can get on the market today. Now, this is a big comment, okay? I think when it comes to 3-power optics, this is some of the best image out there. And I'm going to be very careful what I say here, but I'm going to say it again. Some of the best image compared to everything in all the price ranges of 640 high resolution thermal optics. Okay. I'm not going to say this is as good as a 1280 or a 1024. I mean, that's been ridiculous, but when we're talking about 640s, I think it's close to as good as you're going to get. I mean, really close. And you're getting this thing for under $5,000.
Yeah.
It's a heck of a deal.
A heck of a deal. All right. So you've heard all that. If you still have questions and you're like, man, I still don't know if this one's right for me, the best thing to do is to call us. It's hard to watch a review, any review, whether it's one of ours or anybody else's, and say, okay, I've decided this is it. This is what's right. You can call us and talk to us, 877-350-1818. We'd love to hear from you. And we'd love for you to purchase your next optic from Outdoor Legacy. That would mean the world to us, and it keeps this show going, and it keeps us going too. So we appreciate any business and any referrals. We get a lot of referral business. People say, hey, somebody told me to call you, or I've bought scopes and I told my brother-in-law to call you. So we definitely appreciate that. 877-350-1818, outdoorlegacygear.com. You can find all of our past episodes of the Late Night Vision Show on thelatenightvision.show.com. Obviously, you can find it on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. On the summer trips when you're taking them this summer with your family, you can listen in the car and drive them all crazy. If you want to find Outdoor Legacy on all the socials, you can. Outdoor Legacy on Facebook, on Instagram, probably other places. You can find, YouTube, obviously. You can find me on Instagram and on Facebook at Hans ETX, and also on YouTube. Yes, we do all these videos, and we are producing other videos for our other channels. It is plus a full-time job, more than a full-time job. Outdoor, I'm about to say Outdoor Legacy, Hans ETX on YouTube, if you can find it over there.
Is that it?
That's
it.
All? Yeah, I'm cutting it.
All right.
Cutting it.
Okay. Well, I think we've reached our cutoff. We've run out of minutes. We're going to have to go by more or something. This is longer than we like to go. No, guys, listen, seriously, hope you enjoyed this. As Hans said, any questions, give us a call. Love to have your business. And I'm sure there's something that we didn't answer that you want to know about, and we'll be happy to do that. You know the number, you know the website. Between now and next week, y'all stay safe in the fields. Hope to see y'all again.